So did you know there are more patients with epilepsy than autism spectrum, cerebral palsy, Parkinson's, and multiple sclerosis combined? Hi, my name is Himanshu, and I'm the founder and CEO of EnlitenAI. At EnlitenAI, we are building a device-agnostic, data-hungry platform that captures data and builds insights to personalize decisions for seizure management and treatment. So I have 20 years of experience in dealing with drug-resistant epilepsy in my own family. My son had it. 3 years ago, we lost him. And this is why Enlighten AI was founded. And my background is in computational sciences and supercomputing. So epilepsy is life-threatening. We all know that. There are deaths because of SUDEP, deaths because of status epilepticus. And of course, we are dealing with patients with a lot of comorbidities and co-medications, as well as other complications. There are 3 times more patients with epilepsy in the US than type 1 diabetes, just to get the prevalence numbers out. So we address the following 3 challenges. Number 1, the neurologist has absolutely no visibility of the progression of disease between 2 clinical visits. These are usually a year apart. Number 2, due to the intractable, unpredictable nature of seizures, the neurologist ends up titrating or making drug substitutions, changing levels, and in response to patients' seizure profiles, their adverse effects, as well as different comorbidities and so on. And it is a trial and error process that takes a long time, sometimes 3 to 6 months. Sorry. And then the third problem we are addressing is the skyrocketing cost burden associated with the management of seizures and hospitalizations. That's $28 billion, and that's for the payers. So the product is NeuroLighten. It's a cloud platform. It has I would say a data integration layer wherein data from various devices like smartwatches, heart rate variability, actimetry data, SpO2, and so on are ingested. We bring in data, neurological indicators, EEG signals, EMG signals from third-party devices and wearables for EEG or EMG capture. We also have a patient interface wherein the caregiver or family member can stream real-world evidence specific to the event. All of the data comes into our platform, and now we have 3 engines in our platform. The first engine is the titration onset, which enables the neurologist to know when to take timely intervention. The number 2 engine is in the personalization engine, where we inform the neurologist in terms of decisions that are optimized for quality of life balance, seizures, as well as adverse effects. And then the third engine is the ability to predict which anti-seizure medication would have the highest rate of success in a titration for a given patient, given their comorbidities, the side effects, seizure profiles, adverse, as well as eventually genetics. If we were to look at the competitive landscape, there are 2 players already in the market. There are device players that are cleared for detection of certain signals as seizures. And then there are diaries that help you build a log of various seizure events. Enlighten AI goes beyond a detection of a seizure or creation of a diary to influence the decisions associated with the titration and treatment of patients. We work with device vendors. As you can see, we augment data, and then we address the unmet need in seizure management. We have great traction. This year, we were selected by Epilepsy Foundation as the top 5 startups for epilepsy. We have a 2-year strategic partnership with the University of New Mexico, wherein we have access to one of the largest EEG databases in the US, where we can train our AI ML models for EEG characterizations. And we also have a second signed agreement with University of Colorado, where we've done a clinical study last year, and now we are doing another clinical study early next year with 2 FDA-cleared devices, EpiTel and EpiWatch. And that would be a beachhead, commercialization beachhead for us last year. In terms of the total addressable market, we have $28 billion is the cost associated with the management of seizures, and it has doubled in the last 10 years. Our focus on serviceable addressable market is the subset of patients where they have drug-resistant epilepsy, and there's a high cost associated with seizure hospitalizations. Our business model is B2B. The neurologist prescribes a platform to the patient. They get reimbursed for use of a platform through either RTM, RPM, and CCM codes, which already exist. That pathway exists. However, we are also looking at the possibility of us engaging and employing the value-based models, and that will be more profitable. So we have both models that we are looking at. If we were to go with the commercialization strategy around value-based models, we have this is an indication of how a typical neurology center would reimburse us. They typically have about 6,000 to 8,000 or 12,000 patients, depending on the size of neurology center, each year with epilepsy. Go-to-market is B2B. We already have traction with 3 neurology centers. There's one more which is signed, is coming up. So Colorado, UCSF, New Mexico. And then starting in 2026, we have a strong value proposition for pharma companies, where pharma companies can also use our platform as an objective monitoring system for their existing studies, or they could use it as a drug device combination. We have a great team of people who are experts in seizure management, regulatory, as well as in data science. My chief operating officer is a compliance chief from Google, Verily. My chief medical advisor is Professor Paul Garcia from UCSF, and we have a technologist who built digital platforms in the past. We are raising a seed round of $1.5 million, which can be structured as a safe note or a convertible note. The majority of our funds would be used towards the enhancement of our product. That's 40% of our capital that we raise. 33% would be used towards the success of our clinical investigations, and then the remainder for our FDA application. We plan to come in with, as a software-assisted medical device, class 1. And the objective of this raise is to hit a milestone getting 1 paying customer at scale, which will be Colorado. And then we use a cookie cutter approach to scale out to other neurology centers. My contact information is listed here, and I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
Himanshu, it's a very powerful presentation. Thank you for that. And I know it's very personal for you as well.
Yes, it is.
I guess I'm just unclear about a couple things. First of all, the payment. Is there a payment code? Is there a reimbursement code?
It's a reimbursement code. So the neurologist, so we'll have an engagement with the neurology centers, our customers, our named accounts. The neurology centers, so it could be a negotiation, which could be per patient per month, which would be a SaaS model, based on what they get reimbursed for the RTM, RPM, or CCM, and or CCM codes. That is one model. The other model is wherein we use a value-based modeling, but we need more clinical evidence for that, wherein we say that we anticipate this is the total cost burden to you, and we can reduce 20–30% of your cost, and therefore there's a value sharing there.
Okay, and your go-to-market, you've identified the 3 partners. Were they epilepsy centers?
Yes. Yes.
So tell me more about them. What's the nature of your partnership? Like a signed contract?
So we have a signed contract with Colorado, where they were our clinical site last year, and we did a study, and then they have signed a continued engagement for next year. The second agreement was a strategic partnership engagement with University of New Mexico, wherein we have access to 23,000 recordings of actual patients, 14,000 patients over the last 10 years for us to use for our data AI ML models.
Okay, last question. Tell me about your data set. AI runs on data. You said you have a relationship with University of New Mexico. How have you built this set? How will you maintain it? How do you make sure it's accurate and it's transparent and all that stuff? It doesn't drift.
So, so just to understand your questions, what you're saying is, how do we manage all elements of data privacy, data integrity,
Yeah,
and
and
the
that, and
results?
as well as your data set is going to be your moat, right?
Yes.
You're gonna have a data set no one else has. How do you maintain that?
So yes, so good point. So the way we exist right now, our engagements, clinical investigations have been through an IRB and a protocol document. In terms of the data that we are capturing, it comes to a cloud. That is the biometric, or I would say not biometric. I would say it's product telemetry, device telemetry data, as well as the real world evidence that we get through the caregivers. So that comes to our cloud. And that's where we build a model for preemption and then causation, correction. Eventually, we'll get into the space of prediction. But that model is for us to keep. In terms of the data, I mean, data is always de-anonymized and de-identified. I mean, we maintain those protocols. In terms of the ownership of the data resides with the customer. But the AI ML model that we do in our cloud, the insights are for us to keep. Our integration through the EMR system would be such that the insights are built in our cloud, and we push out specific use case based actionable suggestions to through the EMR, and that is something we are working on, for which we need the $1.5 million.
All right, thanks to Enliven.